You're listening to the world's smartest podcast network.
When I go to Sacramento, I will pump up Sacramento.
Some say the news is fake. Others say it's real. These two don't have the time to check. Instead, Turner Sparks and Michael Ira Kaplan turn to comics stationed around the globe to be their eyewitness reporters so that you can know what's really going on. This is Lost in America.
All right, everybody, welcome to Lost in America, episode 243. My name's Turner Sparks.
And I'm Michael Kaplan.
You can find me on the road this fall at turnersparks.com, all tour dates. But first, I will be September 16th in Dallas, Texas at Hyenas Comedy Club, co-headlining with the great Professor Andrew.
The Mighty Heaton.
The Mighty Heaton, Doctor, what do we call him? Doctor, Professor? I don't know. The Mighty Heaton, Andrew Heaton, all the Heaton heads will be out. Come hang out for that one. Get tickets. Get all your tickets at my website. Also, upcoming dates. I'm touring all over the place, but a lot of these are private events, country clubs. So I'm just going to give you
the country clubs,
the country clubs. I'm going to give you the public dates.
Where can the peasants find you?
The peasants can find me in Dallas, Texas on September 16th. The peasants can find me. Levelland, Texas, West Texas, baby. The Permian Basin. I'm going to be out there in October and then, late September. And then I'm going to be in Vegas, October 18th through 24th at the Tropicana Casino with Tom Rhodes, doing a week. And then November, I'm going to be, November 10th, Punchline Sacramento. Those tickets are going very fast and might be almost sold out because they might go back. If they go back to limited capacity, it might currently be sold out.
Oh, yeah. You should really have planned your tour only around red states because, having tours in California seems like a bad idea because you might be just you and like.
Well, at minimum, they'll do limited capacity. I think they'll probably just do vaccinated. Anyway, November 10th there, December 3rd and 4th, Oakland, California, the Bay Area, the Alameda Comedy Club headlining out there. All right, you can find Kaplan on all social media platforms and we at Cap in America. And we're going to be we're talking about
some future events. We can't, they're top secret at the moment. We're discussing
Cap might be doing more stand-up soon, everybody. Yeah. So watch out, world. He's done 3 sets in his life and I'm
only going to play to the vaccinated. So that's going to motivate people to get vaccinated.
Oh, look at that.
I'm checking cards at the door.
I'll play to anybody, but I'll do my set first and they'll have to leave and then they can
kick them all out.
Kaplan will do it to whoever's ever left.
Exactly. That'll
all right,
you.
Cap, patreon.com. So to support this show, which we need your support. We have not had a single subscriber join in like a month. I think it's because we told everybody we got mad at our listeners, which was a bad idea.
So now we're going to give them now we're going to reverse. We're going to be nice to our listeners.
Yeah, we love our listeners. We need help. We need Kaplan needs to. You just had to walk your kids to school. We don't need you doing anything that's not podcast related. We need you to hire that out. We need a nanny to walk.
I can't. They're supposed to go to camp. I can't afford it anymore. So I just stuck them with a guy. He's got a van. He said he'd take them around the town for the day. They'd have a good time.
See, so your Patreon subscription not only gets you 3 extra episodes of me and Kaplan doing our comedy podcast every week, live from the bunker, aka Kaplan the Closer. You're gonna have to listen to know why it's called that. But it also helps Kaplan's kids, get back into school because they haven't been learning a lot recently. So
it also helps me. I mean, my unemployment's about to run out in 2 weeks. You realize that the gravy train's over. So I'm gonna have to get a job in 2 weeks unless this Patreon money starts. I thought I was gonna live off this. You're gonna live like kings.
Patreon.com/Lost in America. All right, Kaplan, let's get to today's episode. We're talking about Malaysia. We're talking to Kavin J. We'll bring him in a second. We've had him on before. Episode 215 was when he was on last. So go back and listen to that, and then that'll catch you up to this. But, Cap, let's try to remember. So the Prime Minister of Malaysia just resigned. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this episode. But he resigned as they say it's COVID related. But I don't know if that's I was trying to figure out if that's just the excuse or if that's actually the case. Because from what I remember, he was never elected in the first place. The king put him in.
The king put him in. And what I remember is he was never elected, but he was going to serve until I believe they even said around August of this year, they were going to have elections, I think, because basically they couldn't have elections during COVID. And they thought by like this summer, it'd be over.
I thought it'd be over by last summer.
Yeah, we all thought that last year. We thought it was crazy. They're like, we remember we were laughing. Like, they're not going to have elections for a year and a half because of COVID. So I guess because COVID's still here, they're just never going to have elections again. So the king will just keep appointing people, or
the king. So the last guy, the guy who just resigned, was Muhadin, I believe. Man, that was as close as I could.
Minister Muhyiddin Yassin.
Yes, Muhyiddin Yassin. The king waved his wand a couple years ago and made him prime minister because he didn't want to have elections. Now this guy's stepping down. So what do they do now? That's my question. Do they have? Does the king wave his wand again, or do we get? Is there some kind of election?
I remember the guy before him was 94 years old. He's now like 96 now. So maybe they'll make him prime minister.
Bring him back if he's still kicking. If he's still alive. Yeah. My grandma was the mayor of our town when she was 80. So, but this guy would be 16 years older than my grandma. 20 years older than Sleepy Joe.
But 96 is the new 80, they say. So
that's what they say. All right, Kavin J. Welcome to the show. You guys, Kavin, you check him out on Netflix. He's got a comedy special on Netflix called Everybody Calm Down. When Netflix decided it was going to Malaysia, they said, we need Kavin J. He did one of the first ever Netflix comedy specials out of Malaysia. Everybody calm down. Check that out. Also listen to his podcast, the Matcha Men podcast, where they talk about Malaysian history, Malaysian, I think, politics, but it's if you like what we're about to do today and you want to hear more about Malaysia, listen to his podcast, the Matcha Men. They do that every single week. And also listen to episode 215. You know him from episode 215 of this podcast.
That's how it's calling. His business card says that. Episode 215, Lost in America.
Kavin, welcome back to the show, man. How'd we do?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
I miss the Americanness of this podcast. Just, you come, welcome to the podcast. It was so cool. It hit me like a gush of wind.
Well, it's 8 a.m. over here. People don't even know that, but we got up early.
For you.
I got 5 cups of coffee in me. My 2 options are either sleeping right now or screaming into a microphone. There's no middle ground.
Fair enough. I'm glad that you chose the screaming into a microphone, which is nice.
Yes.
Hi guys. How you guys doing?
We're good. He is very American. Turner is the most American guy I know. So
yes, I know. He's even when he was in China, he was the most American guy I knew. It was weird.
I think it made me more American, actually.
You guys got most of the recap wrong. But yeah. His name is Muhyiddin, by the way.
Muhyiddin. Well, I said Mujahideen.
But that's not his real name.
But once you're out of office, we don't pronounce names right. We don't give you the respect.
No, and the best part is that we only found out that is not actually his name, Muhyiddin. Yeah, apparently his birth name is Mahyadin. Right, but he's never used that name. He's always used the name Muhyiddin for reasons unknown. Anyway, so moving on. From last episode 215, we left off. This is what you missed. We left off with the king appointing Muhyiddin to be the prime minister at that time because he had the majority in the parliament.
And that was 2018 or 19, somewhere in there.
That was 19.
2019.
It was 2019. That was in March 2019, just before COVID hit, right? Just before the lockdowns. So they had a...
Was it in March 2020?
Pardon?
It was in 2020.
Oh, yeah,
right?
2020, sorry.
Yeah, it was March 2020.
2020. Okay.
Yeah. Look, at this point, I don't know what years are. So, you got to forgive that. But it was 2020, March 2020, just before COVID hit. They had a coup. And basically, the prime minister, who's 96 now, yes, you're right about that. He stepped down, and then so they had to appoint someone, so they appointed him. Right? Fair enough. Everything was okay, fair and dandy. Right? Everything was going great. We were doing really well with the COVID. We had maybe 200 cases a day. That was pretty good, right? I mean, and it was going down as well. We had single digits at one point. We were doing great, and then the prime minister decided to increase his cabinet, right? More ministers, more secretary, or whatever, and we started getting vaccinations done, and so in between there was this by-election that was supposed to happen, right? Which is one of the states had a by-election, and because their chief minister stepped down, so they had no choice but to have a by-election there. So when they had the by-election there, what happened was the COVID cases just went skyrocketing up,
Because everyone went out to vote to the polls?
Everybody was campaigning. Everybody was doing, seminars and whatever they do. But yeah, so, everybody was coming out to vote. There was not really a lot of SOPs, blah, 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 and everything. So at that time, the home minister or the defense minister, this guy called Ismail Sabri.
Yes.
Remember that name because he will come up later.
Oh, okay. I remember him from last time. He was the guy who got put in jail for sodomy in the 90s.
No, that's Anwar Ibrahim.
Ah, dang
it. Yeah. Get your sodomites. Don't mix up your sodomites.
Oh, no, he will come up. He will come up later as well. So, yeah, remember all
Ismail Sabri.
Anwar
okay,
Ibrahim,
now
sodomy,
I know who you're talking
blah, blah,
about.
Blah, right?
Yeah.
So he said that, look, if you come back from Sabah, where the by-election was, if you come back from there to West Malaysia, you don't need to, quarantine. It's fine. Everything will be okay.
And he was the deputy.
Okay.
Was he the deputy?
This was the home minister, the guy, like the home secretary in the U.S.
Oh, Secretary of the Interior was it? Like, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Fair enough. So he was like, hey, no worries. You don't have to, quarantine. Everything will be fine. It wasn't fine. Case skyrocketed up, and basically what happened was March this year, we had for the first time up to 10,000 cases a day, right? Whoa. And things were not going well. So basically they said that, look, what we need to do right now, at least the government said, what we need to do right now is we need to cut it off. We've been taking it easy for this long, so we need to go into an emergency, right?
State of emergency.
State of emergency. So he went to the king and he said, look, we have to have a state of emergency until August this year, right? So March to August. He said 6 months, no parliament, right? State of emergency, everybody's at home, and it's an emergency movement control order. So everybody, it was lockdown plus, right? It wasn't lockdown, it was lockdown plus, because we were already in lockdown before. And, everything, we had a curfew at 8 o'clock. Nothing could be open at 8.
This whole year, you've had that?
Since March.
Since March. Since 8
March. This was the lockdown plus, right?
Oh my God.
And then a lot of speculation.
Way worse than Apple Plus.
Yes.
Google Plus. There's nothing safe.
But then speculation came out that the reason why he had called for an emergency was because he didn't want to go to parliament anymore.
He didn't want to have a vote.
Yes, he didn't want to have a vote of confidence, which was his power was waning a little bit, because so the blocks that made him prime minister at that time, one of the biggest blocks was UMNO. Now, UMNO is the United Malay Nationalist Organization, right? So they are like white power, but Malay. So
Malay power.
Yeah. That's actually the slogan. And
who do they say will cannot replace them? No. The Jews, for some reason. No.
The Jews are the scapegoat no matter where you go.
Yeah, the Jews will not replace us, say the Malay guys.
So they were starting to lose confidence in this Muhyiddin guy. So they started pulling off, right? But then what Muhyiddin did was he made Ismail Sabri, the guy who was the home minister, he made him the vice prime minister, right?
Yeah.
So the deputy prime minister, and he gave a bunch of ministerial positions to a bunch of them, right? And remember that from what we said from episode 215, a lot of the guys from UMNO also have court cases for corruption, right?
Yes.
One of them, being Najib, has already been convicted.
We talked about him.
He's still an MP.
He's still a member of parliament.
He's the guy who stole millions.
He's been found guilty in court, but he's still an MP. Like, he's still a member of parliament.
Wait, I want to catch everybody up real quick. Just real quick here. So, what you're saying, I can't say it. Muhyiddin.
Yes.
Muhyiddin. Okay. So Muhyiddin is not, so the UMNO, the UMNO, is that how you would say it? The UMNO ruled the country. The white power from Malay ruled the country from forever up until 2018.
For like 60 years, right?
Yeah. And then
2016. No, 2018. You're right.
Sorry, and then someone beat a guy. The 96-year-old beat them, or the 94-year-old beat them in 2018 from another party. And then Muhyiddin. So then the 96-year-old. I mean, he was like, "Hey, I'm too old," so he left. And then in 2020, Muhyiddin came in, and now Ismail Sabri, the home minister you're talking about. So Muhyiddin is also not from the UMNO, right?
He was.
He used to be.
Muhyiddin was from UMNO, but he was thrown out because he spoke up against Najib at that time.
Against corruption.
Against he was the one who stole like millions, right? His what?
Billions.
Billions, right? But he was trying to leave the country, I thought. And now he's actually a member of parliament.
No, but he couldn't. So everybody stopped him from leaving the country. And
wait. Let me get all the way caught up for everybody here, just for if anyone hasn't heard before. So then Muhyiddin's now at this time not from the UMNO party, not from this party who ruled for 70 whatever years, and then does he need their support somehow to be able to rule in parliament?
Okay, here's the thing that happened, right? So when Muhyiddin was thrown out of the UMNO party, him and the 94-year-old Mahathir formed a party together called Pejuang, right? Oh no, sorry, they were called Parti Bersatu, which is the Unity Party, right? So they formed this party, and they had joined the bloc of the opposition to become one big party, which is called the Pakatan Harapan, right? So when they won the elections, right, everything was great. Everything was fine. They had the majority in the parliament. Everything was great. But Muhyiddin himself decided, oh no, I don't want them to be the prime minister anymore. I want my party to be the prime minister. So what he did was he took the Unity Party out of the bloc that won the election,
out of the coalition,
out of the coalition, and he worked with UMNO again to make another coalition that had majority. So that's how he became prime minister.
So he worked with the white power.
He worked with the white power because he thought, the Malays didn't have enough power. That's actually correct. Like that's what he said. Like Malays don't have enough power apparently. Yeah. So because there's one party which is a multicultural party, which apparently is, anti-Malay, it's not. But for some straight...
that's what Kaplan says. Kaplan says the whites don't have enough power. He says that a lot. Off the air. He doesn't say it on the air, but right when we turn the mics off, it's a lot of it.
So then what happened was he moved his party from one coalition to another. So basically what he did was he hopped parties, right? Yeah. So he moved his allegiance from one group to another. And so he brought UMNO back into the coalition, and he made that happen, right? But the thing is, at that time, Najib was already found guilty, right? So
and Najib, the former prime minister who's still 4.5 billion.
He was already found guilty, but he's still a member of parliament because apparently, according to Malaysian law, even if you're found guilty, if you're going through an appeal, you still can be a member of parliament.
So he's appealing the sentence.
He's appealing the sentence.
And he couldn't leave the country because he can't leave the country because of the legal problem. So he might as well be a member of parliament while he's still there.
He's already been convicted to 14 years, by the way, guys.
14 years? Jeez. He's on appeal, though.
So is he...
and he owes backdated tax like a billion ringgit. That's about $250,000.
I mean, go on style, $1 billion.
Is he the same guy who blew up the model? Exploded the supermodel lady?
Allegedly.
You got to say allegedly.
Allegedly. Excuse me. I don't want to go to prison when I get to Malaysia.
But he blew her up in bed.
It was allegedly his wife as well. So we don't know.
Oh, well then that's a domestic dispute.
Yeah. No, not the model. His wife was the one who blew up the model.
No, his wife blew her up.
Oh. Allegedly.
I mean, what happens behind closed doors is not the state's business.
Marriage. It's not libertarian.
I'm not going to comment on anything that happens behind closed doors. But here's the thing.
Don't want to litigate the bedroom,
Do they have a libertarian party in Malaysia?
We do, actually. It's not good.
So wait, can I ask a question about Najik? This guy's has a 14-year sentence. And he's still in parliament. Is he voting in parliament? Like, is he voting from prison, or is he?
He's not in prison. He's out. He's out on appeal. He's going through appeal.
Does that the same in the U.S. if you're
not usually? No, not if you get a
14-year appeal from prison, don't you?
You would be in prison, yes, in America if you had a 14-year sentence.
But you have to understand one thing. The law applies in Malaysia very differently if you are in power and if you're not. If you have money and you're not, the law applies very differently.
So a farmer doesn't get the same benefit if he gets a 14-year sentence.
If a farmer exploded a model and stole 4.5 billion.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. And I mean, look, people have been in jail for stealing milk because they're poor, and they don't get appeals. But they
don't get to join parliament either,
so it's fine.
So Muhyiddin, as part of this, what I see is like a big time sellout move by bringing back in the UMNO party so he can stay in power, basically, right?
Yes.
To maintain his power. He also then, Ismail Sabri is the home minister. And Ismail Sabri is also from the UMNO party, right?
He is, yes, he is. Yeah. So basically to legitimize the UMNO party, because they were waning off support, so to legitimize the UMNO party in that coalition, what he did was he gave them posts. Right, ministerial post, and of course for Ismail Sabri, the post of deputy prime minister. Now, having said that, the president of the party, which is Zahid Hamidi, right? So Najib was the president of UMNO, who was the prime minister at the time. When he lost the election, he had to step down. So his deputy, which was Zahid Hamidi, became the president of UMNO. Right now, he doesn't have any post. Because he is also going through a court case on corruption. He's got 42 cases against him going on in court right now, right? That's happening 42. As we speak. Now, a lot of these cases have been postponed because of the COVID as well.
Yeah, so, lockdown plus. You can't have these cases going on.
Lockdown plus no cases.
So basically, he's been pushing to get his cases dismissed. Right?
Okay, because of COVID.
No, through the parliament.
Oh, just in general.
If you want me to support you,
right?
Just go away. Drop my cases, and we'll be fine. Right?
Yeah.
Allegedly, again.
I love how out in the open this all is. By the way.
It's very. Usually, this shouldn't happen like in a closed room, backroom deals, or like in a parking lot somewhere.
I mean, this is all allegedly, anyway.
Yeah, this is allegedly.
So allegedly that Muhyiddin doesn't want to drop the cases for Zahid because he wants to make him a scapegoat. So he's promoted someone else as deputy prime minister, not him, right? So Muhyiddin's kind of playing his cards, showing that look, I'm not helping these guys who we all know is guilty, but. I'm still trying to legitimize the other guys who are in UMNO, so you guys can support me. And
he's playing both sides of the fence.
Yes,
he's trying to he's trying to get everything.
So now while all this is happening, the cases have jumped, right? So we hit 20,000 cases a day, right?
And a country of 30 million people.
Yeah, a country of 30 million people,
as opposed to 300 million in the US.
We're hitting 20,000 a day, which is pretty bad. And if you look at the per capita rates, it's even worse than Indonesia and India.
Wow.
Right? Which is pretty bad. And the whole thing boiled down to the fact that they refuse to shut down the factories that were working close quarters and stuff like that. So they a lot. I mean, again, I'm no expert, so I don't know what exactly is causing everything. But a lot of people have been saying that, look, if you close the factories at 10,000, we wouldn't have gotten to 20,000. If you lock down the people, give them a curfew at 8:00, it makes no difference because these people are not going out anyway, right? And because Parliament,
the curfew thing never makes sense to me.
To go on, there is no way to question, what's going on. because it's emergency. It's a state of emergency. Nothing can happen, right? So when we hit 20,000, the king came out and said, "Look, you guys need to go to parliament and sort this shit out, right? This needs to happen." This happened in so parliament was the emergency was supposed to end in August, right? So this was
this
July.
year.
Yeah. So this was July, and the king came out and said, "Look, sort this shit out. Go to parliament. There's nothing wrong. Just go to parliament and sort this shit out." So they allowed. At first, Muhyiddin said, "Oh yeah, we'll have the parliament, sure, in August."
Yeah.
And then the opposition parties were like, "Look, the king said have the meeting now. Why are we waiting till August? Why are we waiting till August?" And they were like, "No, I mean the king has to listen to us, not we listen to the king," right? Which kinda is true, but also the fact that it's very disrespectful if the king tells you to do something and you don't do it.
Yeah.
So eventually, because of pressure and because the cases rising up to 20,000, 21,000, so they decided, all right, okay, we're gonna have an emergency meeting, right, in the parliament. So parliament opens up, everybody's in, and then obviously the opposition starts with the vote of no confidence to the prime minister, which is immediately dismissed by the Speaker of the House, which is basically a lackey of the government anyway. He's dismissed it.
Just to explain that real quick. So the parliament immediately decides they don't want Muhyiddin as the prime minister.
Well, basically, the opposition parties can give out minutes of what they want to talk about. And one of it was the fact that they wanted to have a vote of confidence.
Oh, just have the vote. That's okay.
Yes.
Is it a binding thing? If you say no confidence, the guy's out? Or is that just like we're just sending a message?
Well, the thing is, if there is a vote of no confidence, and if Muhyiddin loses the vote of no confidence, basically what happens is that he will have to step down.
Right. Okay.
Because he doesn't have the confidence of the House. That's by legislation. But there is also ways around it, which I don't fully understand. But that shows legitimately that he doesn't have the confidence of the House.
And what percentage do you need?
Right. So it's 51% is
majority. Not a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Not a lot. No, it's one MP more than half.
Wow.
So we have 222 seats of parliament. 2 seats have been vacated by death, I believe. So now we have 220 seats. So all you need is 110 or 111. That's what you need. You need
when he came into power, from what I read in 2020, he only had 2 more than half.
Yes.
He barely got in anyway.
He barely, by the skin of his teeth, right?
Yeah. So how long? I remember I believe we talked about this, not knowing how long this would last anyway. Right?
Yeah. It seemed like it lasted longer than we thought.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he held on because of this emergency and not being able to go to parliament, blah blah blah. Yeah. So, but the Speaker of the House immediately dismisses it. So there's never been a vote of no confidence.
Oh, okay. Because the Speaker of the House is in his pocket.
That vote didn't count.
Of course. Yeah,
do over.
So the government of the day gets to elect the Speaker of the House anyway. So obviously he's going to elect someone who's going to support him.
This is
So and the best part is most of the time the Prime Minister is not there in the Parliament. So the first thing the opposition brought up was the emergency ordinance, right?
Sure.
So what happens with that? Immediately, the law minister involved, and the Prime Minister himself said that, the emergency ordinance have all been cancelled, so it's fine.
Oh, right? So they said the state of emergency is over.
Yeah. So
we beat coronavirus.
Yeah. 26 July, that's what they said. 26 July, all emergency ordinance have been called off.
But that doesn't make sense because, as you said, the cases are higher than they were when the emergency started.
Which is what the opposition says as well. Look, first of all, if you want to cancel the ordinance, you need the consent of the king. Second of all, why are you called an emergency because of the cases going up? Now the cases are higher than ever. Why would you cancel it now? Yes. What is going on? And if you want to cancel the emergency ordinance, shouldn't we have been notified beforehand saying that you are going to cancel the emergency ordinance? Because there are people so that happened, I think, on the 30th of July, right? That's when he said that on the 26th of July, the emergency ordinance has been cancelled. Now, between the 26th and the 30th, according to some lawmakers, a lot of people have been fined, right? Because they didn't follow the rules or the SOP of the emergency ordinance, right?
Okay, 26th to 30th. But it was announced on the 26th.
But they said they already canceled it. Then they were like, so what happens to these summonses? Like, what are you going to do with them? Like, and everybody, and they just went, we'll talk about it. Here's the best part, right? So this was on a Thursday, I believe, or a Wednesday. I can't remember now. But this was, so basically he just went, so all these questions started flooding in, and the guy just went, look, listen, I know you have a lot of questions. We'll answer it on Monday.
Yes.
Right?
Take the weekend. Everybody calm down.
Let me gather my thoughts, right? And so everybody was like, no, you can answer it right now. It's simple questions.
What was the reason for getting rid of the ordinance in the first place?
Yeah.
There was popular people. Were there people who wanted that?
Has the king consented to this? And why? Why do you do this? Like, what is going to happen with all this? And he was just like, Monday. And then the Speaker of the House just took over and just went and muted everybody and just went, we'll answer all questions on Monday.
Oh, it was a Zoom like interview session?
No. It was in the House. Like they have a mute button. Because I mean, it gets
they have a mute button in live meetings.
Mute button.
Yeah, they've been ahead of it.
All right. Wait, we're going to get to more of this, but before we do, and I want to find out who's going to be prime minister next, but before we do, we need to break for an advertisement. But Kaplan, we are part of the world's smartest podcast network.
You wouldn't believe it listening to us today, but we are.
Dr. Andrea Jones-Roy has the Ask a Political Sciences podcast. Professor Andrew Heaton, who I don't think he's actually a professor anywhere, but he wears the jackets with the elbow patches, so that's close enough.
In the podcast world, he's a professor. He's so far smarter than everyone else.
The Political Orphanage podcast. All three of us make up the world's smartest podcast network. Go to worldsmartestpodcastnetwork.com to subscribe to all their shows. We did a live show. We're going to be doing a couple weeks ago. We're going to be doing more of these, more roundtable podcasts. Cap, now a word from your local sponsor. All right, we're back.
Thank you, sponsors. You guys you keep the lights on here.
Oh, keep this boat afloat, baby.
They can sponsor Malaysia as well.
What's that?
We need the money.
All right. Once Cap's kids get back in school, we'll give the rest of it to Malaysia.
I need to eat, but you know.
Okay. So they have this vote of no comments. Yeah, Cap had a good question. So why if you had to put yourself in the shoes of Muhyiddin, why would you make that? Why would you cancel the state of emergency?
Yeah, like was there a popular uprising for that? That's what I was wondering.
No, and nobody liked the emergency anyway because it was just it was allegedly for the fact that he didn't want to have a vote of no confidence in Parliament. That's why he had the emergency ordinance. So that, that didn't happen. One. Two, the fact that, look, it was way too restrictive. The fact that everything had to close by 8 p.m., right? Now, it just doesn't make sense. People have dinner at 8 p.m. Yeah. Like, and restaurants are closed. So do we order at 6 instead? And what about restaurants that had to shut down and clean up? Like, what happens then? So they had to shut down at 7 for them to clean up and leave and be home by 8. So it becomes very restrictive. Nobody liked it. We were okay with just lockdown, just not lockdown plus. Like, what is the point? It made no difference anyway because the cases kept rising up. And even with lockdown plus, the factories still were open. Cases were still going up. And nothing was being done. Like it was not making any sense. So they said they canceled it, but did they cancel it? We don't know. Like nobody knows.
Right.
So
right?
The messaging problem. What happened between him canceling it on July 26th and then him stepping down a couple days ago. Like what led to this?
We will come to that. It's a lot. It's beat by beat now. All right. So now, so everybody was just all right. Fine. We'll find out on Monday then. We'll find out on Monday.
Oh
right,
yeah, Monday.
So on the Saturday of that week, the king decided to come up with a press statement saying that he had given no consent to the cancellation of ordinance. He had given no prior notice to this. He was not consulted, and therefore he is disappointed with that decision. That
you don't want to disappoint your king.
You do not want to disappoint. If there's one thing I know about kings,
you do not want to disappoint the king, right? So then pressure started piling up on Muhyiddin, right? Because look, he's just disobeyed the king,
and people like the king, right? This isn't one of those countries where everyone hates the king.
Well, we discussed this as a rotating king, but this king is they rotate.
Oh yeah, we like this one. I mean, his Majesty seems to be I keep calling him, but it's actually bad form.
His Majesty.
But you guys, it's okay because you guys can't get arrested. But His Majesty is actually he's one of the good ones, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying there's a bad one.
No, of course not.
Just of course not. Yeah. But having said that, so he's disobeyed the king. Now the opposition is putting on a lot more pressure, right? So over the weekend, what happened was the Speaker of the House decided to suspend Parliament indefinitely because apparently rising COVID cases. They had 2 COVID cases in Parliament, and they decided that it's too dangerous. We have to suspend.
And so you can't do this. Might be a stupid question, but you can't do Parliament on Zoom.
No, apparently not.
And are these people vaccinated? Are they vaccinated yet? The Parliament?
Yeah, most of them are.
Okay.
I mean, we have 27 million vaccinations already done, so we okay. And most of the member of parliaments are vaccinated, so they are fine, right? Now, here's the thing. You're right. They should be able to do it over Zoom. But apparently, we're run by a bunch of old men who don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah, they're going
to be pulling tubings left and right if you leave these guys on Zoom.
No, it's just weird. Like, okay, so Parliament is suspended indefinitely, right? So now it gives them time to kind of compose themselves. And, everybody is just basically... So now the pressure is on Muhyiddin to resign, right? Because of this thing that he did. So what he did was on Sunday he comes up with a press statement saying, "Oh no, the king is wrong. I'm right. The king is wrong." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Like, I did everything according to the law, and the king is wrong. And
risky.
And for some, I don't know who told him that would be a good idea because everybody hated that, and so he was under immense pressure to step down, right? And this basically for a week he just went on going, I'm not stepping down. This is everything was done according to the law, blah 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 blah, right? And then what happened was the king came out and said, "Look, right, something needs to be done about this, and you can't just be waffling around. Something needs to be done. You resign or do something."
Wow.
Right. So he then went on to buy some votes. Now, this is again allegedly, right?
I read a little bit about this. I'm excited to hear more.
So the king came out and said, "Look, you're gonna have a vote of no confidence in court, in Parliament, as soon as possible, right?" So he said, "We will have it, but we will only have it in September."
Oh, so he's giving himself another month.
Yes, he's given himself another month, and
one more month to buy some
push it
votes.
down the road.
Push it down the road. And everybody was just like, why do you need more time? What is going on? And then the king put a little bit more pressure on him and said, "Look, you got to do it now, right? This got to happen now." And then he went, "Okay, we will bring forward the date, but give me some time." And then apparently there's some MPs who posted on social media that they've been getting WhatsApp messages giving them money to support Muhyiddin.
Yes.
Right? So The price was 30 million. Now, this was all written in code, by the way.
30
you guys know
How
what the
much
fruit durian... Do you know what the fruit durian is?
A durian fruit. Yeah, that's the stinky, the smelly fruit that you can't have in hotel rooms.
Right.
And,
It is the Malaysian national fruit, so to speak. Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it tastes good.
It's
wonderful.
Malaysians love durian. Like, durian is the thing, right? So basically, the message was coded in a sense that, look, if you want durian, we will give you 30 ringgit for one durian. Which basically is code for, if you support us, we will give you 30 million ringgit for one vote.
Wow. So one durian is
maybe
worth
they just
one
really
vote.
like durian. No.
Yeah. No,
it was
everything was in code because obviously they couldn't just say, look, support us, we'll give you 30 million, right? So now the MPs started posting it up on social media, right? And then they obviously it's a lot more pressure to them as well. Then what happened was these. So then on Friday, Muhyiddin, the UMNO bloc, the bloc of UMNO, 15 MPs from UMNO, especially Zahid Hamidi, who basically, as I told you, has 42 cases pending in court. He comes out and says, look, I'm withdrawing support for Muhyiddin.
Now, let me ask
with 15 MPs.
Why? First of all, I just looked it up. So 30 million ringgit is about $7 million US dollars.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So why because if Muhyiddin, as you said, he basically sold out to the UMNO party. He put there an UMNO, Ismail Sabri. He put him as the deputy prime minister. He's really moving up. So why would UMNO not support him now? If they can almost control.
This was just 15 MPs from the UMNO party, right? Headed by Zahid Hamidi, who allegedly, is not satisfied with Muhyiddin because he wouldn't drop his cases.
Oh, because Muhyiddin, even though Muhyiddin's selling out to UMNO party, he still is prosecuting against the guy who blew up the model, allegedly. And
this guy have some principles.
Najib is one of the 15 as well, by the way. Najib is one of the 15. Zahid Hamidi, who has 42 cases, and 13 other MPs who,
here's the lesson, folks. You try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody.
Yes. So if 15 pulls out, which means, by order majority, he only has like 95.
Yeah. So he's
votes. So he's done. So he doesn't have. But the thing is, instead of resigning, what he does is he now goes on TV. Now, this whole press conference thing was done like, it was not really a press conference. It was just like a address to the public. And first, UMNO 15, like just one guy talking, and then there's 14 people behind him. It's like a fucking rock band. Yeah. Right? And then what happened is the next day, Muhyiddin does the same thing with 15 people behind him, like, with the guys from UMNO as well. Like, look.
Different people.
So Muhyiddin had his 15 people came out and said, I'm not resigning, right? I'm not resigning at all because, these guys, these 15 UMNO guys basically had court cases against them. And I'm not supporting them, so they don't support me, but I'm not resigning. We're not gonna let them win.
Yes.
Is what he said.
Don't let the criminals win.
He let them win in the first place. Right?
But
so
then, okay, go ahead.
So this, and he goes on say, so I'm not resigning, but here's the thing: if we have a vote of no confidence, guess what happens, right? I'm gonna lose. He actually said that I'm gonna lose,
wow.
But who will take over? Nobody has the majority. Not the opposition. Not the UMNO guys, not these guys, nobody's gonna take over. Nobody has the, and we can't have an election right now. Cases are going skyrocketing. So we can't have election right now. So what's gonna happen? Listen, okay, this is a great strategy. Speaking, like I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. Right? It's great. Like of course I'm no good, but who else is out there?
And we can't. There's not even an option to have an election until 2023. I think so. He just stuck with me.
Blatantly on live television, he goes, if you support me, I will give you anything you want.
Yes.
I love this guy. Crony capitalist at his
running
core.
for student council.
I love this guy. Crony capitalist at his
running
core.
for student council.
I will give you anything you want. Now, if you want, what he promised was a vote of anti-hopping law. So now we don't really have this, but it seems like a great idea. The fact that, look, if you're from one party and you want to move to another party because you support someone else, right? We don't have a law against that. So if I vote a member of parliament, right, that person has the right to choose who to support, right? Now, if I voted you in because I support this party, but if he aligns himself with another party, he's still my MP.
Yes.
Right?
So put it in American terms, if you vote for a Democrat, but then they stay aligned with the Republicans, they're still your guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, there should be a law that says you can't move parties in the middle of your term.
Well, it's a parliament too, so it's trickier when they do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we don't have that law, so that's how Muhyiddin got into power in the first place, because a bunch of them, moved allegiance and stuff like that. But now he's blatantly on TV saying, "Look, I'll give you anything you want," basically, right? So then, this
whatever you want, baby, just take me back.
I'll do it. I can change.
I can change. I'll do the dishes every day.
You guys want pizza for breakfast? Whatever,
And then this was on Friday, and then on Saturday, what happened was every single party came out with a press statement saying, in so many words, "No, we're not supporting you. You can go to hell."
Everybody.
So everyone, like the 15 UMNO guys came up and said no. The opposition blocks came out one by one to say, "We are not supporting you. Sorry." Especially that you've just blatantly offered a bribe on television. That's not gonna fly.
Blow up a model if you
nobody
like.
supported him. So then on Sunday, he comes out and says, I'm still not going to resign, right? But I'm going to meet the king. I'm going to meet the king on Monday, and we'll see what happens. So
kiss the rings.
Kiss some rings.
So then on Monday, he met the king, tendered his resignation, along with the whole cabinet, but also, made himself the caretaker prime minister for now.
Right.
He's the caretaker of until they find a new one.
It's kind of like in our New York State, Cuomo resigned, but he's still in charge for 14 days. Like this guy did the same thing. I'm resigning, but I'm still actually prime minister for now until.
Yeah. So until they find a new one. And now, so what's happening now as we speak is that, all the members of parliament have to send a fax to the palace.
Fax?
I know.
I know how to send a fax.
Machine.
Here is this.
So they have to send a fax to the palace.
No millennials are allowed.
So which candidate do you support, right, for prime ministership? And so far now, there's two candidates, right? One is Ismail Sabri, who was the deputy prime minister for Muhyiddin.
Yes,
and
from the
one
UMNOs.
is Anwar Ibrahim. Yeah, the butt guy, right?
The sodomy guy.
The sodomy guy. Guess what? And breaking news just now, I just got another breaking news that apparently he's being investigated for another sodomy case now.
Whoa, that's a Kavin bomb. We're breaking.
Wait, Anwar Abraham?
Yes.
So you can't knock him as sodomy, this guy.
So sodomy's still illegal.
It's still illegal. But the thing is, look, every time he's in line to become prime minister, there's a sodomy case just keeps up.
Do you think they just have a file of backlog of them and they just keep leaking them out shortly? Yeah.
No, and every time it's different complainants. It's great, like how they find these people. Like, look, if someone would offer me 30 million ringgit, which is $7 million, just to say, like, someone sodomized me.
What is the actual charge? Like when you say sodomy, it's pretty vague. Like what are they accusing him of doing?
Are they saying consensual or is this
sexual
rape?
Sexual misappropriation.
But that can mean like with a man? Does that mean, or is it just mean like okay? Well, I don't know.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the charge is that this guy's gay. It's basically
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But has he ever blown up a lover? There's been no. So
not yet.
That's allowed, apparently. You can blow.
Allegedly, not yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
But but here's the thing. Like they keep saying that whatever. Like for me, it doesn't matter. But it just sounds really dubious that every time he's up for prime ministership, a sodomy case will just pop up out of nowhere.
And this guy's been in politics for what, decades? Has been not part of the UMNO party. He's never been.
He was in the UMNO party first, right?
Oh, he was.
The first sodomy
he was a white power sodomite.
Yes, and then
well, that's most of them, Cap.
and then he got fired with the sodomy case, thrown into jail. Came out, becomes the head of the opposition, and he's been waiting ever since. It's been 20 years. It's been a journey for him.
Yeah.
So what about? Can I ask about the? So it seems like Ismail Sabri might be. If he has the support of the UMNO party, then he's probably going to be the prime minister, right?
Yeah, but the thing is now the Parti Bersatu, the Unity Party, is the one who's undecided. Because they're starting to realize that this whole UMNO thing might be a ploy to just get him out and then make UMNO the main party again.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, so they're slowly kind of sussing it out and going, maybe we should kind of not support them, but they don't want to support Anwar Ibrahim as well because they broke off with him only a year ago.
Yeah,
and then but who else is there? There's nobody else. It's one of those two.
They all seem like very old. So, all of your candidates. You have there's no youth movement.
Anwar is 70 something. I can't remember.
He's the young one.
Speaking of youth movements,
something.
Kavin, what's the Black Flag movement or the Black Flags I've heard about?
Oh, that's actually quite. There's a Black Flag movement and then there's the White Flag movement, right?
Yes.
So the Black Flag movement is is #Lawan, which is fight, right? So basically, it was we had the hashtag failed government, which is for the Muhyiddin government, especially when our cases started going really high, and especially when he did the whole what do you call that, emergency order and stuff like that, and basically it was very restrictive and not it made no sense. It made nothing. There was, and the ministers that were in charge were not doing their jobs properly, except there's one or two ministers who were doing okay, like the guy who was in charge of vaccination. He was doing all right, I guess. I mean, I only can judge him by the vaccinations happening.
So you said the vaccination rate was good, because we read over here on our fake news in America that it was a disaster, your vaccine rollout, and that was one of the issues. Only 33%.
It rolled out late, but we've been doing 500,000 vaccinations a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a country of 30 million.
And he said the goal was to get everyone vaccinated by October. I read that was like
yes. So we have had 27 million vaccinated already. So that's not bad.
More than 33% by a lot, if I'm doing my math.
Yeah.
Someone's wrong. So why can't you have elections then by the fall? Well, if you have, sorry,
because the Delta variant. That's why. And it's really tearing through the population at the moment. As you've heard, like 20,000 cases a day. Today was 22,400 something. So therefore, I mean, the thing is, the risk is way too high. 20,000 cases, category 1 and 2 will be 20,000 cases, and then you have 100 cases in category 3, 4, and 5, maybe 10 or 20, right? So we don't have serious cases, but still, I mean, we've got a lot of deaths as well, in the process. So we don't want to risk it. So how New Zealand has been locked down for one case? Yeah.
Well, that's why. It's wild. By the way, we have thousands of new cases a day in New York State, and we're wide open. We're having our mayor of New York City this whole week is a homecoming week. There's big
concert. My wife's boss is
all over the place.
Yeah.
I know. I'm listening to you guys giving out we're on tour for this, and I'm I'm still stuck at home, guys.
I know.
I'm sorry. He's trying to rubbing it in.
So when will, because it seems like we just read before we go, it's just also new news. The king has decided that he will appoint someone on Friday, but even when he appoints someone, there needs to be an immediate vote in Parliament, maybe a confidence vote for this person.
Yes. Yes.
And so that means that he'll appoint someone, but Parliament still has to vote. But once again, the people don't get to vote. When do people get to vote? It is a democracy.
Well, this is going to happen probably, in 2028, I guess. I don't know when this all boils over. They were saying next year, but it all depends on how many cases we have at that time, and how we're doing in the whole scheme of things.
Wow. And it's all because the last time you guys tried elections, there was an outbreak. So early 2020. Holy cow. All right. Well, the Black Flag movement, it seems like that's a youth, and we'll leave on this, but that's the youth movement kind of against the elites, right?
Yes. Yes. Basically, it's against the government, and basically it's one of those things. We also had the White Flag movement, which basically started it all. The White Flag movement was basically a movement that, basically there's a lot of people struggling because, you can't work, you can't, earn money and stuff like that. So if you put a white flag in front of your house, no questions asked, someone will help you.
Oh, nice.
And so it was basically a movement by the people, for the people, and basically been hijacked by the government as well, because they came out and said, oh, you don't have to fly a white flag, we will take care of you, don't worry about it. And people were like, shut up, just shut up. Yeah.
And then the black flag was...
And the black flag was for the from the people, basically against the government, with the hashtag Lawan, which is fight.
And do you think that so there's this youth movement against the government. Did that have anything to do with Muhyiddin stepping down, or is this really just the political pressure?
It's basically, the movement had, some things as well, but it was basically everyone after the whole the emergency ordinance thing, and after the whole, coming out and saying, no, it's not my fault, it's the king's fault, he got it wrong. And then, basically, trying to bribe ministers into support, and then going on live TV and trying to bribe them. And basically, that's basically his downfall right there. Yeah. And I honestly believe that this is all the UMNO parties just basically, scheming. They brought down so they were in power for 61 years. They brought themselves down in the election with Najib and stealing $4.5 billion US. And then, when Muhyiddin took over, they basically orchestrated the bring down of another government, right? To make Muhyiddin the prime minister. And now they kind of, did it themselves to bring down another government. So I'm just saying, it's basically for them to get back into power.
And what would be, if they do come into power with Ismail Sabri, which it looks like might happen, what does that mean for the country? Last question. That's the last question. We know you got to go.
Look, he's always been seen as a weak minister to begin with, because his policies are not great and stuff like that. So he was never the leader of the party, let alone the country. If he takes over, basically he would be a lapdog of the UMNO party leadership itself. So basically what we see is that probably he's just going to drop, we're afraid that what he's going to do is going to drop the cases for most of these UMNO guys.
Yeah.
And especially with Najib and Zahid, and, and basically let them off scot-free. 1. 2 is the fact that what's the difference? He was the deputy prime minister of a government that failed. Now you make him prime minister. What's going to be the difference?
That was my question. Whenever like a team fails, you hire from the outside.
Right. They just keep going.
Good. You hire from within.
Retreads.
Yeah. It seems like not a hire from within scenario, but it seems like what they
at least the guy's not a sodomite. So that's
it, everybody.
Allegedly.
This is not that's the bar to clear.
Thank you so much, Kavin. We know you got to run. Thank you for doing this, especially on short notice. Kavin J, everybody check out, go on Netflix right now. Watch Everybody Calm Down. Download his podcast, the Macho Man podcast, and listen to episode 215 we did before. That's it, Cap. What should we do?
Let's get lost.
Get lost.